Guys, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about my new hair color. Um yeah, I get a lot of questions because I do dye my hair pretty frequently. So this is for anyone who's wanting to dye their hair or just kind of curious about how I go about it, I guess. Yeah, stay tuned. First question, yeah, little note. Don't judge me. So the first question I'm gonna answer is how often do I dye my hair? And people at school tease me like, oh, you have a new hair color every week. No, that's not entirely true. It is usually once every month. 3 weeks was the most frequent I dye it. I actually didn't dye it for a few in 2 months because I gave up dyeing my hair for a minute. But yeah, the last color I had was a pinkish magenta purple, and before that I had a lot. I think in total I've had over 10 different colors in the past year. So yeah, every, every month or so is a new one. So yeah, that's how often I dye it. So it's not every week, despite what many of my classmates may think. Okay. The second, it's not really a question. Well, it's a bunch of questions really regarding bleaching and lightening to use, not like regular colored dyes, because I use semi-permanent dyes to get these colors, and usually colors like blue, purple, pink, they only sell in either semi or demi-permanent dyes. You can't really put it over any other permanent hair color or virgin hair unless you leave it in a long time, or it's pre-lightened, which is bleached. And I bleach my own hair at home, but if you're not comfortable with that, I totally just see a professional. The first 2 times I got my hair bleached professionally, and then I just started to do it myself. But I did do a test. I only did about, it was this much, and I just put the bleach in. I read the instructions, I read the precautions, and yeah, just be careful because if you leave the bleach in too long, could we all know it would damage your hair to the point where it could fall out. So be careful. Not that that's ever happened to me. Thank God. It's like that girl who did the curling and then it just came off. That, oh my God. Yeah, be careful. And with I always use Manic Panic's bleach kit, the flash lightning, and the 30 volume developer. The highest developer they have is 40, which lightens really fast, but it's very damaging. 30 is like second highest. And then they have 10 doesn't do much. 20 and 30 are usually what people recommend, and I think what they use in salons. I am not sure. I don't work in a salon, so I don't know. Go ask someone if you really want to know. And yeah, so you to use semi-permanent dyes, I always bleach first, and I use Manic Panic's dye as well. So I just like using the same brand of bleach and brand of dye. You could totally use a different brand of bleach or dye. It doesn't matter, but that's personally what I like to use. So yeah, that's all about bleach right there. To get my hair like this from the weird patchy mess up color I had before, I I bleached like this whole part here and the top. I did so what I did I sectioned it like this, and then I went like kind of layer by layer. So I always start at the ends first and then brush up, and I left about an inch from my roots till I covered everything I wanted to. And then the extra ones that like the extra dye I had on like the sides of the tub and the gloves, I just kind of brushed it over my roots a bit because um, you don't want to start with your roots because it'll lighten them really quickly because they're regrowth and they haven't been touched by any other dyes. And that is the part that could make your hair fall out because it's like right at the end. So if something goes wrong, that shit gonna fall out. Be careful when bleaching your roots. And this is actually the first time I bleached so close to my root. But yeah, I didn't even use that much. And Manic Panic lightened very well, pretty quickly. I left it in for the highest amount of time they said, 90 minutes, so like an hour and a half. And it lightened to a very golden color, kind of like Beyonce's, and it was different tones, different parts. So it was like a more yellowish at the bottom and more blondish because of at the roots. And yeah, so and then you just wash it out with shampoo, anyone you prefer really. I did it twice just to make sure I got everything out because you don't want any dye like bleach left over before you dye it because again you don't want it over bleach, especially you don't want it on your scalp because you don't want it to irritate you. Now I'm really careful about that because I have pretty sensitive skin, so I have to be careful. So yeah, that's most of the things regarding bleach. And the last two questions or like sections, I guess the last two things I want to talk about are what brand I use and how I care for my hair before and after I dye it. So again, I mentioned I use Manic Panic. So for this color, I use majority of Atomic Turquoise here. Very nice. Very nice blue. And I mixed in just a little bit of Atomic Turquoise. So it's a more darker blue, little hints of purple in there. I just use this to balance out the Atomic Turquoise because there are, as you can see, there are green kind of undertones in it. So just to balance that out, I mixed in the blue. What really was, I wanted to get purple instead of this, so it would balance it out more and it would fade more as blue and not green, but they didn't have that in the store, so you just gotta go with what they got. Yeah. So I used about 3/4 of Atomic Turquoise, and not even a quarter of After Midnight. And I don't like measure these things out exactly. I just kind of scoop out a bit and eyeball it, and then I kind of put it on and see what happens. I don't do strand tests, although I really should. But I don't really care about how it turns out necessarily. I just whatever happens, happens. So I put this in after bleaching. I bleached it and I shampooed it out. I already said that. And then I let it air dry because I didn't want to blow dry because that would damage my hair even more. And once it's bleached, it's very vulnerable. So I would not recommend using heat on it right after bleaching. And Manic Panic is vegan, so there's no ammonia or any of those harmful chemicals in here. It's a plant-based dye. And so I leave it in overnight. I put it over all the bleach parts of my hair. I put it in a shower cap, and they say on the bottle that you can leave it in for 30 minutes just for the color to get on there. But I really like for it to soak in so it doesn't fade as quickly. So that's why I leave it overnight. And I woke up the next morning around 11 and I just washed it out. So yeah, that is how I got this color. And for caring for my hair, I do not use heat. I try to avoid it. That's why I do this. I kind of just clip up the little bangs here since they've grown out. And this is sort of my natural hair texture. It's usually more curly. It's kind of relaxed because I kind of I played with it a lot recently. I go like this a lot, so it's usually curlier. But yeah, and I try to avoid straightening and washing it too often because first that'll fade out the dye since it's semi-permanent, and it'll dry out my hair. And because my hair is naturally curly, it's pretty dry. So yeah, in caring for my hair after I bleach, I don't again I avoid heat products and like getting it wet unnecessarily because the dye will come out. And I use oil masks, so I just use some olive oil. I just put all over just so that soaks in and gives me some extra moisture. In my current phase video, I showed you it was Garnier's Marvel Oil. I use that usually almost on a daily basis. I use it especially at the ends. It just helps seal in some moisture. Yeah. And I always use heat protectant whenever I blow dry. And I only blow dry if it's like winter or if I'm in a rush. But I usually wash my hair at night so I can let it air dry. So yeah, for the most part, you just really gotta take care of your hair before you bleach it. And I hope you guys learned a little something, and maybe you will do your own hair or something. I don't know. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys on Monday for my new makeup tutorial, and feel free to comment or whatever on what like kind of makeup look you would want or anything, any question or anything you have, anything I didn't address in this video, or suggestions for future videos. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like, and I'll see you next